Order, please. Order, please. Order, please. Order. Order, please. Once again, members, when the Speaker calls for order, please quit speaking. It's time to resume the business that we're here for. So, orders of the day, government business. Please be seated. Orders of the day, government business. The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I move, seconded by the Premier, that this House approves in general the budgetary policy of the government.
It has been moved by the Honourable Minister of Finance, seconded by the Honourable First Minister, that this House approves in general, the budgetary policy of the government. The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And thank you to everyone who has joined us for our government's first budget. C'est avec beaucoup d'humilité que nous vous accueillons à l'Assemblée législative et d'embarquer sur une voie positive pour le Manitoba ensemble. On behalf of the Manitoba government, we honor the sacredness and importance of this land and of the ancestors that once walked where we are standing today. The Anishinaabe, the Cree, the Dene, the Dakota, the Métis, the Inuit, and the Anishinaabe nations who paved the way to what is now known as Manitoba, home to all treaty people. We share this with you as a reminder of our treaty and shared histories and the original homelands of these nations, which have become home to all of us here today. Honourable Speaker, 6 months ago, Manitobans put their trust in our government to deliver on better health care and lower costs. And with this budget, we're doing just that. It's a budget that will get Manitobans and their families off the waiting list and into the doctor's office. It's a budget that lowers costs for families so parents can stop worrying and start saying yes. It's a budget that will make it easier for more Manitobans to join the middle class and stay there. Our budget will deliver help for you and help for those who need it most. Honourable Speaker, Manitobans put their trust in our government to stop the cuts and fix healthcare. For years, we've heard about the frustrations and the burnout from patients and from healthcare workers. The previous government took advantage of this hopelessness. They wanted Manitobans to think that the best they could do was the best that we could do. We're going to prove them wrong. As my colleague, the Minister of Health, will tell you, there are people with solutions. There are lessons we can learn. There is a path forward, and it will get better. This year, we are hiring 1,000 healthcare workers. 100 doctors, 90 paramedics, 210 nurses, and 600 healthcare aides. Some of them will be young Manitobans who see there is a bright future working in Manitoba in healthcare. Some will be those who left healthcare under the previous government now returning to the front lines. Many came to Manitoba as newcomers. They want to use their skills to care for Manitoba families, and we're going to make that possible. They're going to work in personal care homes, including the new personal care home in Lac du Bonnet. They're going to work in your community and in new doctors' clinics across Manitoba. And they're going to work in home care for our seniors and our elders. And they're going to work in new ERs, like the new Victoria ER and the new Eriksdale ER. Honorable Speaker, this is great news. We're adding more ICU beds to our hospitals, including pediatric ICU beds. We're hiring more allied health professionals and midwives. We're restoring the Rural Doctor Recruitment Fund, and we're bringing MRI services to the north. We're creating an independent seniors advocate to protect seniors and elders in our province from harm. We're rebuilding emergency care and coming through on the commitments we made to Manitobans, because no family should have to drive past a closed hospital in an emergency. And for families in rural and northern Manitoba who've watched over the last 7 years as their healthcare services have become fewer and farther away, we're working for you too. No more waiting for the ambulance to finally arrive. No more medical mystery tour, wondering which hospital has a doctor and when you'll finally get the care you need. This budget will train more advanced care paramedics to serve people in rural and northern communities and put more ambulances on the road so help will come faster when you need it most. Honorable Speaker, everyone in Manitoba loves someone who has been diagnosed with cancer. We need to do more. So we're expanding cancer care to include new and emerging technologies, world-class research, more treatment options, and a new cancer care headquarters to provide comfort and dignity to patients on their journey to recovery. Manitobans will remember the new cancer care headquarters was one of the first things the previous government cut. And now, it's one of the first things our government is building. Our government is inspired by the hope and optimism of healthcare workers. After everything they've been through, they still believe that caring for people is a noble profession. And we do too. Together with frontline workers, we're rebuilding healthcare so it's there for you when you need it. Honorable Speaker, when Manitobans chose our team, we got to work right away to lower costs for you and your family. In our first 100 days, we delivered real relief to Manitobans who felt squeezed by prices at the pump. With our cut to the gas tax, we're saving Manitobans 14 cents a liter every time they fill up their tank. For us, it was an easy decision, and it made a real impact. It drove down inflation in Manitoba. It lowered inflation for Canadians across the country, and it helped working people. And that's why we're extending the gas tax holiday. We're going to keep delivering on lower costs for all Manitobans, so the people who spend hours commuting every day can put food on the table, so more families can afford to get their kids to that hockey game, so everyone can keep just a little bit more in their pocket. And this is just the first step. This budget gives Manitobans 21 new ways to save. A broad middle-class tax cut, a $1,500 tax credit for homeowners, and no school property taxes for families that need the most help. a tax credit for renters, a tax credit for seniors, and $10 a day childcare for every day of the year. Honorable Speaker, I'm not done yet. We're lowering rents on agricultural crown lands, we're doubling the fertility tax credit, and we're making prescription birth control free. We're giving rebates for home and business security, rebates for EVs, and Honorable Speaker, we are raising the minimum wage. Drivers get lower insurance, students get more financial aid, and the families who need the most help get the most support. But that's not all, Honorable Speaker. We are delivering bigger paychecks, bigger pensions, and more benefits because that's what you get when you join a union. How about that? In my neighborhood of sunny St. James, there are good people. People like Stacy, who volunteer, who give back, and who want to make a difference. And it's really great to see Stacy here joining us today. What Stacy has in common with all Manitobans is this: we all want our province to be better. We know we have to do something. We have to do something about homelessness, and we have to do something to help people with addictions. And when our kids don't feel safe in their neighborhood, we have to do something. So here's what we're going to do. We are taking action right now to end chronic homelessness in 2 terms. This budget invests $116 million to build and maintain social and affordable housing for the families that need it. In total, we are investing nearly 30% more than the previous government budgeted for housing last year. We're building more housing than the previous government created over an entire term. And we're keeping rents low with stronger rent control. We will care for Manitobans struggling with addictions. We will expand treatment options and detox beds. And we will open a supervised consumption site to connect Manitobans with the services and supports they need. Because, Honorable Speaker, we believe that if you take the first step, government should be there for you. We'll make our streets safer for everyone by being tough on crime and tough on the causes of crime. We will crack down on organized crime and drug traffickers. We are going to hire new mental health workers to work with law enforcement to be there for Manitobans when they're in crisis. And we're helping more young people find a better path with food in every school for every kid that needs it. With more opportunities to play sports, to learn new skills, and to get support with math and reading in local community centers. And we're strengthening enforcement tools under the Environment Act to make it easier for government to protect lakes and rivers for Manitobans to enjoy for generations to come. Now, Honorable Speaker, I want to speak about something difficult. There are 3 murdered Indigenous women in a Manitoba landfill. They are loved, their lives are sacred, they deserve respect, no matter what the billboards say. And their families deserve closure. This is about who we are, one people with one future. Manitobans don't leave anyone behind. Honorable Speaker, this budget has the funds to search the landfill. Manitoba has one of the highest rates of child poverty and child mortality in the country. We're going to do something about that too. This budget doubles the prenatal benefit, making it the highest in Canada. Because we know when you invest in mothers, they spend it on food for their kids and opportunities for their families. They build up their communities, and that is worth investing in. And for kids, adults, and families living with a disability, we're creating more opportunities and providing more programs, more services for you. We're strengthening Manitoba communities, lifting the municipal funding freeze, the 7-year funding freeze. Right. We're building schools in Sage Creek and West Kildonan. We're building highways and roads like the Mollard Road to the Sikh Society Gurdwara. We're building pools. Yeah. We're building pools, rinks, and rec centers in Thompson, in Brandon, and in South Winnipeg. And we're building a new airport in Wasagamak for northern families. Honorable Speaker, this is how we build up our economy, with people and with jobs. The previous government stifled growth. They froze projects and they sent jobs out of province. They let workers go without work. We're different. We're putting people to work and we're building up Manitoba. We're putting people to work with good jobs that pay the bills. We'll make it easier for more Manitobans to join the workforce, join a union, and join the middle class, with stronger protections for workers to exercise their rights. Right. Honorable Speaker, we're banning replacement workers because no one should be able to take your job when you're fighting for better pay and more respect. Right? And we will provide more supports to the Labour Board to get it done. Plus, we'll ensure that there are essential service agreements in place across Manitoba. Manitoba has always been a place where young people could get their first house and families could afford to build a good life. But in the last few years, that's gotten harder. So we're getting ahead of the problem. We're taking the PST off new builds to jumpstart housing development in our province, and we're expanding housing stock in downtown Winnipeg. We're building on our stable, diversified economy by investing in producers that feed Manitoba and feed the world. We're living up to our potential as a maritime province by investing in the Port of Churchill. And we're leaning into our strength as a central trade corridor by investing in Centerport. The untapped potential of Manitoba's critical minerals gives us an advantage. We're not going to let that opportunity pass us by. We are engaging in real nation-to-nation consultation with First Nations and Métis governments, and together we can spur economic growth for everyone. We're promoting Made in Manitoba success stories like New Flyer Industries by partnering with them to create an all-Canadian build center and 400 new jobs, and we're going to create more success stories by giving young people the skills and education they need to find a good job, start their first business, and launch the next clean energy innovation. We're tapping into Manitoba talent by increasing funding to our public universities and colleges by nearly 6%. And instead of selling Manitoba Hydro, we will keep it public and keep it affordable by strengthening the Public Utilities Board. Because, Honourable Speaker, 50 years ago, Manitobans invested in hydro, and it's time to cash in. And we know the best investment in our economy starts with you, the people of Manitoba. Budget 2024 doesn't just invest in roads and buildings, it invests in people. Before I wrap up, Honourable Speaker, I need to talk about the elephant in the room. We've inherited a historic deficit from the previous government. We're starting with a healthcare system that's been broken by 7 years of cuts and chaos. We're coming out of years of rising costs, and people are struggling. There are those who will say this budget is too ambitious, but it's for those reasons it needs to be ambitious. We can fix healthcare and make life more affordable, and we can do it while charting a path back to balance in 4 years. And if anyone tries to tell you it can't be done, we're going to prove them wrong. Just watch us. Honourable Speaker, as Finance Minister, it is my job to present this budget. But in many ways, this is not my budget. And even though he's inspired us with his vision and brought Manitobans on this path, I think if you ask the Premier, he'd say it isn't his budget either. It's yours. It's ours. We have one future, we are one people, and we are one Manitoba. Thank you.
Well done.
The